So here's why the profits interest is cool. So the profits interest, instead of profits only interest, instead of doing it that way, what I did was I said, how about if we do this? So what they had agreed to was that 90% of the distributions from the profits would go towards the buy-in, and 10% would come to me. So out of the first, let's say that there was no change in growth, there will be, but let's say there was no change in growth. It's $10 million that comes in year one. 90% of that 900,000 would go towards my $1 million buy-in. I would have 100K, which I could then pay towards my 210 in taxes, right? It's not super exciting. So what I did instead was I said, let's do a profits only interest. And this is a specific thing. That is what it has to be. And the way that's going to work is that on the first 1 million, I get a profit distribution equal to 1% of total profits. Well, what that does is that means that's the same thing. If you think about 1% for me of total profits equals 10% of the interest that I get. So I'm going to say that just so that everybody understands. So basically, I'm going to get a 10%, I'm acquiring a 10% interest in the company. So I would receive 10% of any profits. But my deal I was able to initially talk about with the seller was that 90% of my 10%, which is 9%, 90% times 10% equals 1%, was going to go towards the acquisition. So I would only be receiving 10% of my 10%. 10% of 10% is 1%. So what I did is I said on the first million that comes in, I'm going to get a 1% profit only interest. I'll only have to pay taxes on the 100K that I receive from that. Then on everything after that, it's, let's see, any money greater than 1 million in profits, I will receive 9% more, or a total of 10% of the profits. So this does exactly the same thing, but instead of either having to pay $1 million cash up front now, or having to pay, $210,000 in taxes on the $1 million of distribution that I received. I didn't like that either. Here, I will have 0 taxes on the acquisition. The seller will have 0 taxes on the sale. Remember over there, they would have had to pay taxes on the $1 million I got. And then when it sells, I'll receive 10% of the sales price that's over 10 million. So if we sell it for 100 million, because that's easy math, then there'll be 90 million that will effectively be the profit, right? And I will then receive 10% of the 90. So I'll get 9 million. So I think it'll be between 9 and 14 million my way. But now if the reason that we say, and just so you understand this, I'll move it to red, just so you understand this little bit here. The reason that this is okay. The reason that it's the amount in excess of $1 million is my buy-in would have been $1 million, right? So had I come on the other side, the buy stock side, and done either of those two ways, I would have gotten my $1 million back when it sold, but it was just the $1 million that I had already paid. So I'm not having to pay the $1 million in advance on the profits interest only deal. So I effectively don't have to come out of pocket the $1 million. And rather than getting my own $1 million back when it sells, the 10% of the first 10 million sales price, which would be that $1 million, goes to the seller.